What's up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood extreme Spidey guy here, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review of the original Ghostbusters movie from 1984, directed by Ivan Reitman. So, I am going to be reviewing all the Ghostbusters movies leading up to Ghostbusters Firehouse coming in 2024. I'll be doing the original one for this one, part of Nightmare Month, and then I'll film the other two coming soon. So, how is this movie made? Well, based on his own fascination with spiritually, Aykroyd received Ghostbusters as a project starring himself and Jim Belushi, in which they would venture through time and space battling supernatural threats. Following Belushi's death in 1982, and with Aykroyd's concept deemed financially impractical, Ramis was hired to help rewrite the script to set in New York City and make it more realistic. It was the first comedy film to employ explosive special effects, and Columbia Pictures, concerned about its relatively high $25 to $30 million budget, had a little faith in its box office potential. Excuse me. Filming took place from October 1983 to January 1984 in New York City and Los Angeles. Due to competition for special effects studios among various films in development at the time, Richard Edlund was used part of the budget to found Boss Film Studios, which employed a combination of practical effects, miniatures, and puppets to deliver ghoulish visuals. Ghostbusters was released on June 8, 1984 to critical acclaim and became a cultural phenomenon. It was praised for its blend with comedy, action, and horror, and Murray's performance was often signed out of out for praise. It earned $280.2 million during its initial theatrical run, making it the second highest grossing film of 1984 in the US and Canada, and the highest grossing comedy film ever. It was the number one film in theaters for 7 consecutive weeks and one of only 4 films to gross $100 million that year. Further theatrical releases have increased the total gross to around $295.2 million, making it one of the most successful comedy films of the 1980s. In 2015, the Library of Congress selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry. Its theme song, Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr., was also a number one hit. With its effect on pop culture and dedicated fan following, the success of Ghostbusters launched a multi-million-dollar multimedia franchise. This included the popular animated TV series The Real Ghostbusters in 1986, its sequel Extreme Ghostbusters in 1987, video games, board games, comic books, clothing, music, and haunted attractions. Ghostbusters was followed in 1989 by Ghostbusters 2, which fared less financially and critically, and attempts to develop a second sequel paused in 2014 following Ramis's death. After a 2016 reboot received mixed reviews and critics underperformed financially. Screw that film. I am probably going to rant on it probably soon. A second sequel to the 1984 film Ghostbusters Afterlife was released on November 19th, 2021. Sorry, spit, by the way. Which, in my opinion, Ghostbusters Afterlife is the true Ghostbusters movie that we should have had in 2016. But, anyways, now back onto the story of this film. So, what is the story for this movie? Well, after the members of a team scientists, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray, lose their cushy positions at a university in New York City, they decide to become Ghostbusters to wage a high-tech battle with the supernatural for money. They stumble upon a gateway to another dimension, a doorway that will release evil upon the city. The Ghostbusters must now save New York from complete destruction. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? This movie would have to be one of my favorite comedy films and one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Bill Murray definitely nails the performance as Peter Venkman, and this would probably have to be my favorite performance from Bill Murray. Dan Aykroyd definitely does an awesome job, definitely nails the performance as Ray Stantz, and Ray would have to be my favorite performance from Dan Aykroyd. Sigourney Weaver definitely nails the performance as Dana Barrett. The late Harold Ramis definitely does an awesome job, definitely nails the performance as Egon Spengler. Rick Moranis definitely nails the performance as Louis Tooley. Annie Potts definitely nails the performance as Janie Melentiz. William Arthurton definitely nails the performance as Walter Peck, and Ernie Hudson definitely nails the performance as Winston Zedmore. The visual effects are definitely awesome in this movie, and the Ghostbusters song by Ray Parker Jr. is definitely awesome. So the film starts off probably after the professors, Peter, Ray, and Egon experience their first encounter with a ghost at the New York Public Library, and then the university dismisses them and then fires them, and then the trio then founded, and then they launch, and then they make the team called Ghostbusters, and then after the paranormal encounter, the cellist Dana Barrett visits the Ghostbusters, and she witnesses a demonic dog-like creature in a refrigerator with a single word, Zool. And then Egon researches Zool and the details and Dana's building while Peter inspects her apartment and unsuccessfully attempts to seduce her. And then suspicious of the Ghostbusters Environmental Protection Agency inspector Walter Peck asks them to evaluate their equipment, but Peter rebuffs him, and Egon warns the containment unit that is nearing capacity and supernatural energy is surging across the city. And and Peter meets with Dana and informs him her Zool was a demigod worshipped as a Gozer, the Gozerian, a shape-shifting god of destruction. And Gozer is definitely a phenomenal antagonist, along with Walter Peck. And the final battle was definitely awesome in this movie, where they like where where they like try to stop Zool, and then Zool asks if they're gods, and then Ray actually says yes. I think. So the Ghostbusters travel to a hidden temple. So Peck returns with law enforcement to have the Ghostbusters arrested and their containment unit deactivated, causing an explosion that the jail releases the captured ghosts. Lewis Vins escapes in confession and makes his way to the apartment building to join Dana or Zool. In jail, Ray and Egon reveal that Ivo Shander, a leader of a Gozer worshipping cult in the early 20th century, designed Dana's building to function as an antenna to attract and considerate spiritual energy to summon Gozer and bring about the apocalypse faced with supernatural chaos across the city. The Ghostbusters convince the mayor to release them. And then the climax of the film is that when the Ghostbusters travel to a hidden temple located on top of the building as Dana Zool and Louis Vins open the gate between dimensions and transform them into demonic dogs. Gozer appears as a woman and attacks the Ghostbusters, then disappears when they attempt to retaliate. Her disembodied voice demands the Ghostbusters chose the form of the Destructor. Ray inadvertently recalls a beloved corporate mascot from his childhood. Gozer reappears as the gigantic Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that begins destroying the city against his earlier advice. Egon instructs the team cross their proton energy streams at the dimensional gate. The resulting explosion destroys Gozer's avatar, banishing it back to its dimension, and closes the gateway. The Ghostbusters rescue Dana and Lewis from the wreckage and are welcomed onto the street as heroes. And I also do like the scenes with like Slimer as well. Like he's definitely a great mascot as well for like the Ghostbusters. And 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 I also do like the traps in this movie as well, along with the gadgets. And the music's also very good as well. Now, are there any bad qualities I have with this movie? Absolutely not, and here's how I'm gonna rate it. I am going to give the original Ghostbusters a full solid 10 out of 10. So tell me your thoughts on the original Ghostbusters film from 1984. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's overrated? Just let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you all later.